The thing that I'll miss the most about him is the sound of woo. Like, that was his idea of, like, New Year's at Times Square at midnight. Like, just whenever Dilla said, woo, you knew, like, your mind was about to be blown.
James the Weak Yancey is a Detroit producer whose use of sampling in the late 1990s and the early 2000s changed the landscape of production in a lot of ways that you may not have noticed.
J Dilla lost his battle with lupus at 32 years old, and 20 years later, this is the anniversary of his passing. He was on his deathbed making the iconic album Donuts, which is full of instrumentals that are always going to be remembered.
Some of the songs that he's known for include Common's The Light, Farside's Runnin', Erykah Badu's Didn't You Know. He was a founding member of the Soulquarians, which included The Roots, A Tribe Called Quest.
Say the whole name!
Just to name a few.
Today we're gonna break down some of his most famous works and demystify his production style and technique. Dilla famously would extract lyrical samples, melodic samples, and drum samples. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
What's so unique about Dilla's use of samples and the light is that he was able to blend multiple tracks so seamlessly. They always feel like they were sampled from one song, and on top of that, he doesn't quantize the drums, so it always feels original and personal to him.
Quantizing is aligning the drums and the instrumentation to the grid whenever you are producing a song. Dilla's instrument of choice was the Akai MPC 3000, and his pace of work is what helps cement his style. He would find samples and then play the MPC just like an instrument. This gave his drum machine a human feel, and he utilized imperfection in order to make every song feel natural.
Dilla mastered the art of taking a sample without stretching it, chopping it up, and playing it fast. Because if you hear in the song, there's kicks and snares in the song. So he, instead of doing like we did, or used to doing, chopping the sound, he chopped the kick and the snare, and played the kick and the snare no matter what came with it, right?
He was a true crate digger, and it shows in his selection of records. The use of lyrical sampling in the light feels as if the sample was a live recording. The most interesting fact about the creation of Badu's Didn't You Know is that Dilla taught Badu how to sample. The loop is perfect and never comes off as repetitive, which allows you to have a really good ear feel as you're listening.
This loop is technically special because it allows Erykah to lull us into submission. The bass groove is so infectious in this 4-bar loop that it doesn't allow our ears to get tired. We just want to listen to it over and over and over again.
It also shows that Dilla was not selfish in his desire to create. He allowed everyone around him to learn from him, to build, which further cements his legacy as one of the most inspirational producers ever. Stakes is High is another exciting use of lyrical sampling. James Brown is the perfect accent to De La Soul as he adds this eccentric ad-lib to the track. Dilla uses every sample in truly unique and inspiring ways.
What's magical about Dilla's technique here is on Swahili Land, he waits to the finale to pick a sample from this song. Dilla didn't skim songs for samples. He listened from start to finish in order to make sure that he had every perfect part to use. It's the crescendo at the end of the song that makes this sample special. It keeps the stakes high for the listener and keeps the energy throughout the track.
So Far to Go is one of the most dynamic uses of an Isley Brothers instrumentation and an interpolation of Junie Morrison by D'Angelo.
Like Didn't You Know,
Didn't you know?
Me lucky charm. Like Didn't You Know, this is another opportunity for Dilla to leave room for the vocal performers. Both Common and D'Angelo shine on this track. Like we mentioned before, his production style is to get out of the way and let the artist do what the artists do.
The epitome of J Dilla beats is undoubtedly Running by the Far Side. The way he layers each and every sample to create one of the most recognizable beats in hip hop is genius. And that's what makes Dilla a legend. The strings of Saudade Vim Corriendo, the maracas on Flying Easy, and once more, the lyrical interpolation of Run DMC makes this instrumental feel alive.
Like we mentioned before, Dilla always listens to a sample from start to finish. And there's a couple 2-bar loops from 55 seconds and 2 minutes in where Dilla extracts those bars and then puts them together and then loops them for the final track. And earlier we mentioned that Dilla didn't spend a lot of time quantizing his drums. His use of not quantizing is pointed out in this clip by the One Song Podcast.
There's really no variation going on there. And the snare has a little bit of syncopation in it.
Yep.
And you can kind of hear a little bit of the kick in the background. But it's basically going da, da, da. Little variations, but for the most part, fairly consistent. Now, the variety in this song, what makes it very Dilla, is in the kick drum. So here's what happens when you add the kick. And if you're listening for a pattern, a 2, 4, 8-bar loop, you won't find one because it's inconsistent.
Yeah.
It's
you can
20 bars.
You can hear the inconsistency.
It's a 20-bar loop, which I wouldn't even call a loop anymore. But nothing repeats for 20 bars.
That's awesome.
As you can see, Dilla's talent is breathtaking and unique. And Runnin' is by far the best representation of his work to date.
Everything that Dilla does is full of soul, of impact, of originality. It's something that can never be rivaled or replicated ever. Producers today always look to J Dilla as a hero, and today, after this video, you can too. He was a founding member of the Swole Aquarians.